Hey guys, so I'm going to do a different type of video. It's more of a informative video. I'm going to kind of talk about the spiritual path and things like that. And if you look at the title, it's called The Foreign Installation. Now, when you kind of look at that, you're probably like, what does that mean? A foreign installation? Do we got a chip in our head? What's going on? So this is kind of where this comes from. So back in the day, Carlos Castaneda wrote many books, Teachings of John Juan, Journey to Ixtlan, various kind of books, Power of Silence, The Eagle's Gift, many books you can look up online. But it was very much, it was like a lot of shamanic journey. He also experimented with a lot of things like mescalito and peyote and various things. Went on many psychedelic trips. He had a teacher, Don Juan, who, really taught him a lot of lessons, more than I could possibly put in this video. You would have to really read the books to understand. But one of the things is, and there are some people who discount Carlos Castaneda, he made it all up, it's fiction, this, that. But people who are on the path like me, who, really put the techniques into our life and started doing them and so forth. And the Four Agreements also spawns from Carlos Castaneda. Most of you are familiar and may have even read the Four Agreements, so be impeccable with your word. Impeccability is a big thing on the path, being impeccable, really trying to perfect the path and so forth. Really, being impeccable with the word is a very big thing because words have power. But a concept that he had in the books, which Don Juan tells Castaneda, is the foreign installation. And I know you're probably going, what is that? Well, if you've seen The Matrix, it's a little bit like that, except it's not necessarily a computer program. Though I have to say that if we were in a computer simulation, we would not really be able to know, would we? We really wouldn't. But basically, the foreign installation, my understanding, though it's quite mysterious, is you could say it's kind of all upheld by the collective conscious of everybody that's on this planet in some way. When you are born into the world, you are given a name. Many in this country are given a social security number. Other countries may have some kind of thing. You are assigned certain parents, and they will also kind of tell you how to perceive the world. You go to school, you are educated on certain things. This is math, this is history, this is English. You are given a language, you are taught a language. So a lot of that has to do with certain programming. You grow into your teen years, you may rebel a little bit because you feel like you're rebelling against something, right? A lot of teenagers kind of rebel. We were rebelling with the parents who were kind of part of the program. There are kind of do that. And another thing is, as children, we are kind of born here free spirits, but everybody is trying to control us. And even the foreign installation takes these wild child children and puts them on medication. You have ADHD, you have this, you have that. Various things to try to calm them down and suppress them. And it really suppresses their spirit. I'm not trying to be controversial on drugs and things like that, but still, there's a little bit of truth in that. And that, there are certain things that are kind of they're trying to control them. So control ends up, becoming a big thing, even in childhood and so forth. And then teenagers start rebelling against the system. They start getting very depressed. Their freedom is being suppressed and so forth. Some may go into drugs, alcohol, various things, sex, and just various ways to rebel. Some don't make it past teen years. Nowadays, the foreign installation, you could say, is becoming more pervasive to the point that the depression is so hard and so fierce that sometimes they commit suicide. And then you grow into your years. Should I go to college? This is even a little bit of the foreign installation. Go to college, take up a trade, take up a skill, and so forth. Some don't. Some just go straight to work. Some have families, this and that. And they embed more with the status quo, which is also a part of the foreign installation, this being upheld by this collective, that is going on, that everything should be a certain way. You have a television that is put in front of you, and that really its whole point, the purpose, is to get you to see things a certain way, that you need certain things. If you notice, television has a lot of advertisements and so forth because they want you, and that is what really is the force behind the television, is to sell you ads. They'll show you a show and hook you on that show. Oh, I really want to see that movie, or I really like that series. Maybe I really like The Big Bang Theory, but all these ads are promoted at you in between, and they're trying to sell you that you need this detergent, that you need this kind of skincare, that you need this shampoo, that you need these clothes, and the various things. All these things promoted at you to try to manipulate you, right? Okay, you with me so far? So that's part of the foreign installation as well. And then you have things like politics, and sometimes I do talk about that on my YouTube channel, that you should vote for this person and they're for this cause, and they try to cast an illusion what they're really about, but behind the scenes they're about something else. Then there's the media and there's the news, and they're trying to sell you a certain perception about how things are, not only to manipulate maybe even your vote and control you in a certain way, but to hook you so you will continue to trust them and trust the news that they are putting before your eyes. This is all part of the foreign installation, and this is part of the thing to hook you and everything. It is all very pervasive and very powerful. From the foreign installation comes what Carlos Castaneda and Don Juan called flyers. And I know it sounds like, is this the Mothman prophecies or something? These are, you could say, created. They're kind of spawned. How I kind of see them as they are spawned from human beings with various things, which is almost kind of a conflict to kind of keep you hooked in the system. And these things will feed off you and drain your energy in various ways. So I want you to think things like depression or suicidal thoughts or anger or rage or various things to dim your light and suck you and drain you dry. So we have various things like that occur. But one of the things that you have probably noticed, if you are on the spiritual path, you may have even begun to awaken. And this is one of the purposes when we talk about awakening, is to see what is really happening, to become aware. And one of the things for an installation, which also I should add, religion is part of it. Even religions and stuff, they want you to believe and even see the spirit a certain way, that you should follow this, that this is sinful, that this is good, and you need to do this, and they cause you to fear hell. And so you'll behave a certain way, that you will practice certain things, that you will sit in a church, that you will tithe your money. Okay, this is all part to try to control you. But when you start to awaken, you start to see everything in action, and you see that there is a program. I am being controlled. Something is trying to control me here. That is part of awakening, because there is something which is inside us, which has that divine spark. That's where we came from. That's where we came from initially and originally. Now, why people created it in the first place, there's greed, power, control, the ability to manipulate, because be able to manipulate the masses, they grow more powerful, they grow more rich and greedy and various things like that by being able to control. But something happens in the spirit, and it's becoming even stronger and more powerful by the day, is that many people are awakening, that something is happening. I talked a little bit on my last video about Kundalini is rising for many people, and it's breaking them open, and all these senses are becoming aware. And they're like, something's wrong here. Something is really wrong. But they're starting to get into their true self. But one of the things with the path is especially awareness, you know, and stuff. A lot of people, even before awakening, something's very wrong with what's going on and the way it is. But if you really cause you to examine, you'll see the manipulation. And then upon awakening, you start growing more in consciousness and you start to evolve. So when we're kind of talking about evolution and so forth, it is especially that we are evolving above this 3D consciousness, which is all a part of the foreign installation, and the higher we rise. And I hate to almost say higher. I should say we expand. Maybe I should say we expand. And the more we expand and grow in awareness, then it can't hook us anymore. Like in the Matrix, obviously, when, Neo wakes up and he's in the pod, he's unplugging himself. Okay, it's a little like that. You have to unplug from it. You have to be able to unplug from all this manipulation. But it's, even upon awakening, it still will try to keep you hooked. It'll still try to keep you stuck in that program. And you are still continually affected to the point where it's not just a one unplug and I'm free. It's not as simple as that. I know it's like that in the Matrix to a degree, but it's very pervasive. So one of the things we kind of talked about, on the Toltec path, that's what it is, the Toltec path, is about the phantoms. Okay, and they're like, and I want you to kind of think about that. Say you're an awake person, you start to become aware, and you become aware of this serious programming, that is going on, and how these people are asleep, and they're just, I wake up, I work my 8-hour shift, maybe I work 12 hours because I get overtime, I come home, I'm with my family, this, that. We plop down in front of the TV, and the program is getting more fierce to distract you because we got phones now, right? I hate to say it because I do use my phone, but I'm still aware of the program. I use it to try to wake people up if I can, or getting on YouTube or various things to try to educate people. But the distractions and how easily we are distracted, this is part of also the foreign installation. Back in the day when they first brought the TV set and they put it in your living room to distract you, and everything like that. So you'd stop reading books, so you'd stop educating yourself, of people, even spiritual people that were trying to educate you about things that are going on and trying to give you truth. They're trying to manipulate you and distract you so you don't do that, so you don't educate yourself, so you don't become aware. Which is really important to pay attention to. So that's why you got to shut off the TV for a while, at least for a while. I know it's okay. We like a good movie once in a while. It's all right, but we gotta read. We gotta educate ourselves. We gotta understand, and learn these things, be it science or various spiritual truths and things like that become anything that can raise our conscious selves. And a lot of them, and it is true, a lot of people want to keep you sick. They're starting to want to medicate you. Oh, you're a little oppressed, this, that. It's the program that's really doing it to you, right? The foreign installation. But they're trying to medicate you just to keep you hooked in and everything like that. Now, I'm not shunning medication. I take medication. Sometimes we need it and so forth. But, maybe we do have to stabilize. Maybe our brain has been so heavily affected by the foreign installation that we probably do need something, be able to stabilize. So I don't want you to think I'm totally shunning that. So don't think I'm informing you of anything dangerous like that. But especially, becoming aware and all our senses starting to open up. And this is part of the reason we got that third eye. The Spirit wants us to wake up. They want us to wake up. Now, why does it got to be that way? That is a bit of a mystery. I hate to say, other than people want to manipulate, really. Spirit's not trying to manipulate you. The spirit's really not trying to manipulate you. Other people are trying to manipulate you to see the spirit a certain way, you know. And one of the things is this collective here does not want you to realize your divine self, does not want you to realize that you have personal power. If you've ever looked at people who kind of came up and showed their personal power in some way and ripped open and showed that divine self, some of those people, disappeared off the face of the earth or killed or this or that, various things. Bad things happen to them when they start speaking out and speaking the truth and everything like that. Martin Luther King is an example, when he comes out with the spirit and, talking about equality and things like that, look what happened to him. Gandhi, oh, great example. When he was going out and going for freedom, he's trying to break the collective, the foreign installation, trying to control an entire country. Okay, that's kind of part of it and stuff. And then look what happened to him, but he did at least free people. They had to fight real hard, to break that hold and that program, trying to oppress people and make them slaves in their own country and stuff like that. Various things. The Catholic Church running around all over the globe trying to convert everybody, and strip them away of whatever, faith that they had before is something else, and say, nope, this is what you believe now. Period. This is the way it is. This is the truth, and you will accept it. They used force. They killed people to be able to make them believe a certain way, into what we have today and stuff. But many are also coming from even other planets. We got the light workers. We got the Arcturians. We've got, people even from Atlantis. We got Pleiades and various, people even trying to come here to help awaken humanity, to shake us up. Now, what are the reasons why are they even doing that? What do they care about what's going on here? Earth is a very, it is a school. And one of the things, even Dolores Cannon, one of the things she would say is that, yes, it's a school, but it's also very dense. So because of that density and various things, we learn a lot of lessons. But one of the goals here is to come here and kind of understand the program, kind of wake up in it, so we can wake up other people that have been asleep for a long time, who keep being bored here over and over, and maybe they're not getting the lessons, and maybe they're not waking up, and they keep making the same mistakes and stuff. But it's getting to be more critical for people to become awake and aware, because we got to get to a new earth. If you're aware, the planet is in a crisis. There's climate change going on. And part of the foreign installation is to make you completely oblivious and not believe that, so they can, get all the resources out of it and make money off of it and destroy it, because they don't care about your kids or grandkids that are going to take over that planet later. They only care about themselves in the here and now. They only care about lining their pockets, okay, and making that money. And they try to confuse you and everything into thinking that what they're doing is right. And it's all an illusion what these scientists are saying about the planet. It's all an illusion. This is just the planet doing its thing. When all of California is on fire, for example, when all of Texas is getting snowed over and things like that, when we've got polar caps melting and everything, that's just the planet. It is the way it is. We can't fix it, but we really can't. We really can. Can we turn back the clock totally? Probably not. But we can stop it from getting worse. We can do that. So a lot of people are coming here, and one of the keys is to save the planet. And we got to wake up in time before we just completely destroy ourselves. So you can see that the foreign installation is a very powerful and destructive force. But they want to continue to manipulate and control the masses, to be able to keep it the way it is. What is the answer to dealing with something like that? Question everything. That's one of the big things. Do not be afraid to question everything. Educate yourself. Read various books. Really, really immerse yourself. Listen to great thinkers. An example of kind of, you could say, the foreign installation. I feel the Buddha kind of, or the people, who wrote the story and everything, but I do believe Buddha was real. But the people who wrote the story and tried to educate the world, especially about compassion. And the Buddha was in the foreign installation when he was in the palace. When he was, growing up, he had a family, this, that. The king only would have youthful people around. Everybody healthy and beautiful. And the king even disguised his own age to make everybody look youthful and beautiful and healthy and happy and wealthy. And everything was fantastic. But he wanted to go out of the palace. He's like, I want to go out. I want to see what's going on and everything like that. Something was in there. Something was in there that he kind of knew, that he had to get out. So that's kind of like us. We are exactly like that. We're in this, for an installation. We're in this collective. We're kind of stuck in this 3D consciousness here. We're in a palace in some ways. Of course we do see old people and death and things like that, but we're kind of numb to it. You can admittedly say, yes, there are times I'm numb to it. Let me give you an example of what you may be numb to. If you watch the ID channel or the Dateline, when you see murders and this and that, there's something in you that has to desensitize itself to just how traumatic, a death or a murder mystery really is. Some people can be very fascinated. How does that happen? This, that. But there's something that desensitizes and just looks at it as a story versus a true tragedy that has really happened in someone's life. So that's an example. How you're still kind of numb to certain things. Death does not affect you until it hits home, when it's a close member. But because we understand, yes, we do understand death is a part of life, but when it hits you close to home, then you feel the effects of it, and you're like, this is what it is. This is actually what it is. When you were a child and you were impacted by death, you felt a certain way. As you grow as an adult, you become numb to it. Okay, so anyway, so he gets outside the palace walls, and that's where he says old age, sickness, death, poverty, the various, sadness and suffering of the world. And that's where he wants to get out and change things. That's kind of like people awakening. That was the beginning of his awakening. And he awakened in phases. He awakened in phases and stages. Then he wanted to kind of figure out, but one of the things he kind of knew, which is real critical and not everybody always catches about the story, is he knew he had to transform himself first, and he had to awaken fully himself first before he could be any use to the rest of the world. He understood that. So as you may sit there and you're like hearing this, and you know what, I've been kind of aware, I do kind of feel like I'm being manipulated. I do kind of feel like when I watch TV, I'm being manipulated. When I see that Burger King commercial, or I see that detergent commercial, or they say that this will make my lashes longer. Yes, they're trying to, and they make everything look real good till you get the product and it's so, things like that. And it's like, I see what's kind of going on here. I'm kind of paying attention. Or even music. We love music. And of course it's very artistic. But, certain things they'll play on the radio a little more and more is to really sell to certain people, get you to like certain things and get you kind of hooked too. Just all kinds of things. It's all very commercialized. Everything is commercialized. What is new and what is in style, what is a fad. You should wear these clothes. You should buy these shoes. They even try to hook the kids. How many kids have, if you're a parent, have come home, I want these shoes. I want these jeans. This is in style, Mom. I need more hoodies. I need those Jordans or whatever is popular. I need the iPhone, right? Kids come home. I want an iPhone 10 or whatever the big fad is. It's all part of that. But yeah, so we got to kind of be like the Buddha here. We got to kind of be like the Buddha. We have to kind of really question everything, because that was the beginning for him. What is beyond these palace walls? What is out there that I can really examine It's just like when you're watching the news. Why are they telling me this? Are they trying to manipulate me? And why are they doing it? You know, why are they trying to mess with my consciousness like this? What is really the truth? How can I find that out? We got to wade through a lot of information to get to the truth. It's really hard. It can be really hard, but the more you expand and the more you try to get to know and things like that, and especially pay attention to the inner voice, you know, we really got to go within, you know, to really understand. But especially just becoming more aware, expanding awareness. I know some people, like in my group, have talked about when it comes to psychic abilities and things like that, and they will help you on this, okay? They will help you. I want to hear about the clairs, you know, clairaudience, clairsensitence, you know, and clairvoyance and everything. And it's like, don't even worry about the labels. If you get hooked on the labels and everything, you're just going to get lost. Focus on awareness. Focus on awareness, becoming more aware. You know, if you become more aware about what is going on in the program and everything like that, and you peel off these layers, this mold that is a part of this foreign installation, it can't manipulate you, and you will see clearly. You will see what's going on. You know, and you will be able to speak to people in a part of them that they may not have even been aware of. Even when you're hearing this, I feel like some of you may think it's crazy, but some of you are probably like, you know what? I do feel manipulated. I feel it every day. You know, even when you go to work and they're trying to say, for example, say you work for a company, there's a certain culture, right? You know, and then there are certain, you know, rules and this and that, and you have to do this job. But they even try to manipulate you to perform. You know, when they try to get you to really believe in whatever they may be selling or promoting or offering to the public and things like that, and get you to believe in it. And you might even be selling something that maybe is not good for people. For example, maybe you know, people work in a bank and they're, you know, pushing credit and loans and this and that. This is all part of the foreign installation too, to get people into debt, right? Get them in debt for life. You know, this is what, and that this is appropriate. Even in this country, education, you know, charging thousands upon thousands of dollars for knowledge, which that we shouldn't, you know, of course, maybe pay something, but I mean, hundreds and thousands of dollars for knowledge, you know, just so you could get that certificate. Just say, I went through this program. I went through all this stuff. I paid for it. And then they provide me. Okay, if you hand over thousands upon thousands and thousands of dollars, excessive, we'll give you these books, we'll give you a teacher, and you can sit in a classroom and we'll educate you. This is all part of the program. Education should not be that way. And why is that? Because I really believe that foreign installation does not want everybody to be highly educated. You know, they really don't. They have a few people, this and that, you know, that are going to run the show. But, you know, the rich, educated, oh, sure, absolutely. You know, manipulate power and this and that. But they want people to not be able to reach, to be able to ascend, to be able to educate themselves. If everybody was aware and everybody was educated and they fully saw the program and everything, and they just completely unplugged from it, so many would lose power that it would be ridiculous. You know, if everybody was free of all of it, that's when we get to a new earth. That's when we get to a new earth where we're completely aware. We're destroying each other. War is part of the foreign installation, for example. You know, that's all, you know, when your country sits there and says, we ain't go to war. There's this going on. We got to go over there. We got to fight for this or that. You know, or we need to protect, so we got to go and do this and everything. All that's all part of the foreign installation. To get you to accept that that's the right thing to do, that's part of the foreign installation. That's all part of the collective trying to manipulate you to be like, okay. Back in the 60s, you could see people that fought against it. Remember all the hippies and everything? You know, they were doing the psychedelics, they were smoking the peyote, they were doing the methylene, they were doing things. They were running off to India for enlightenment. This was kind of one of those waves that kind of happened where people were becoming enlightened in little different ways. Maybe they should have drugged up so much, sure, but there were many people that were waking up to what was going on. You know, they were protesting the war, for example, protesting the war in Vietnam. There was part of the country that was all for it. Communism, communism. You know, we got to go over there, and then people are coming back in pieces, if it coming back at all. And they're protesting the war. Now when we look back, we know we should have been there. Now we look back, we know it was all a game. Okay? But at the time and in the thick of it, there was still a lot of people who didn't know that because they were manipulated. But these hippies and stuff, you know, they're becoming aware of certain things. That was kind of one of those phases. We're at a phase right now as well with this time. There are wars going on, yes. But especially the planet as a whole, okay, is under threat. You know, it's not even just people or a country or this or that, though that's always happening, you know, because that's part of the foreign installation. But now the planet's in threat. And this is why you're seeing that the spirit is really pushing people in various ways. 1111. Okay, when you're seeing that. I should go 1111. Various signs, 333, angel numbers, this and that, popping up to get your attention. They're trying to get your attention. I'm trying to draw you in, you know, in interest, you know, things like self-love. You know, there's so much in certain religions and things like that that try to teach you that you're not worthy of love. This is one of the big things. You are sinful, even to the point you were even born with sin, and you need to be cleansed, and only these people can do it. And they make you hate yourself. They make you loathe yourself. Part of the foreign installation is even making women, you know, feel unworthy. That they always have to be looking for the prince. Fairy tales are part of the foreign installation. Looking for the prince, love, romance, and always coveting it, like the carrot in front of the donkey, always chasing it. And when something goes wrong and they don't get it, they punish themselves. Maybe they overeat. Maybe they become anorexic. And that's another thing is, even the foreign installation, women have to look this way. You need to be this way. You need to wear this makeup. You need to style your hair this way. You need to wear these clothes. You need to wear high heels. High heels even is part of the foreign installation. No fault for women if you like them. I'm not trying to fault you. But there is a certain thing that creates ideals of what perfection is. You know, to the point, foreign installation, that women get cosmetic surgery. Aging is not appropriate. You can't even age gracefully. So you got to lift everything. You have to tuck everything. You got to pay for it. If you weigh too much, you got to go on a diet. Now, of course, you know, we want to be healthy. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, say somebody is only 10 pounds overweight and they feel like an elephant or something. And so they starve themselves. And we see that a lot with young teen girls starving themselves down to like 80 pounds because of the foreign installation and what they're promoting as perfection. We have young girls on Instagram who, you know, picture after picture, beautiful photos, beautiful women, beautiful, lovely girls. But behind they're really insecure and they're wanting love and attention and likes and everything. And then some of these girls, then you hear about them committing suicide and you wonder why. Because we're very desensitized and detached from people. They're drawn to an image, but nobody sees who they really are. You know, and that's deep, and that cuts when people hit that. They just like my appearance. I got that good filter on. That was a beautiful photo. You know, I wore a bikini in that one, and I got a lot of male attention, but they don't see who I am. They don't really love who I am. They don't know me. Who knows me? You know, it's tragic. It's tragic what we uphold. So that's what it is. How do you break free of that? Wake up. You gotta wake up. Even here in this is to raise your consciousness and to raise it to a certain level so you are aware, so you're no longer hooked. Educate yourself. Read even some of the old school, people, various sages and things like that. Really educate yourself, what's going on. And the spiritual is always playing in the background, trying to press this program and trying to reach you. And that's why these weird things happen, these little signals, however subtle or however dramatic they could be. They're always trying to get you awake, alert, and aware. But we're so heavily distracted all the time. And we can be even a little lazy. Sometimes you just want to sink into the program. And I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. The saddest thing I would say about the foreign installation is, say you find yourself and you're 70 years old or 75 and you're on your deathbed. And that's when you become aware of it. A lot of people, once they reach that moment, that's when they wake up. And then they haven't lived their life on their terms, with their mind, and they realize all their actions or even their choices were always manipulated. My friend Della, who just passed, now she woke up, but I remember she wrote an article, and it was called The Silent Scream, and it's like those people laying on their deathbed, and they were always part of this, always depressed, or never went for their dreams, never went for their goals, always manipulated in some way, believed things a certain way. And then there's a moment they have this kind of silent scream, like, that, what did I do with my life? What did I do with my life? What have I done? They become aware. Something snaps, and they begin to awaken. And they begin to awaken. Heaven and hell is part of the program. To think that certain people go there, certain people go to a bad place. And that is one of the biggest foreign installation conditionings that there is. To think the spirit really created all this just to throw away a bunch of people. That was the whole purpose. Absolutely not. Think about what, and that's one of the things that I can't really tell you, and I can't really show you. I'm not Morpheus, but I can explain it to you a little bit and say, question everything. Start really investigating. When you watch TV, I want you to pay attention to what they're selling you. When you are obviously on your phone, watch all the stuff they're popping up at you and various things. Really kind of pay attention to what is being presented to you. Truman Show is a real good one. If you've seen the movie The Truman Show, if you have not, you got to see it. The Matrix, definitely The Truman Show. Okay? Everything, he was born into basically a TV show. Everything, this kind of perfect, beautiful environment, and everybody's watching him on TV. But he began to question everything. He began to look. He fell in love with somebody, but he had this programming of who his wife is and this and that. But there was something in his spirit that wanted to be free. And he knew something was going on. He started paying attention. He does inevitably get free of the program. But that's a real good... it's kind of funny how I feel there are probably some people who make movies that are aware of the program, and that maybe they can't come out because they would look like lunatics to tell you about it. So they subtly make a movie to try to put a certain truth out there to get you to pay attention. Some creative people are doing that. Let's just stick that in there and see if they'll watch it. And then maybe they'll start questioning everything. And that's what it is. There's even people on YouTube that are trying to get you to question everything. There definitely are. I'm trying to get you to question everything. There are people that are, And as far as even enlightenment is part of the program, that we reach some kind of end and then, woo, we're all awake, it doesn't work that way either. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. I mean, nowadays they're trying to sell enlightenment to you. That's all part of the program too. That's all part of the foreign installation, and you got to watch out for that when you're on the spiritual path and you're trying to learn about, various truths and things like that and get to it. Be careful you don't exchange one program for another, because people will try to sell you a certain program. But that's what this is for. Really paying attention to what's going on inside. Here especially. And your heart especially too. But, that inner voice and so forth. So I hope you found this educational. If you guys have any questions, shoot me questions either in the group or on YouTube.